What is going on, everybody? It's me, Severin7, and welcome to Bite Sized Brews, a video series dedicated to sharing my building process for the decks that I play on stream and that could eventually get full videos. I'll share the build, a few highlights, and some early testing stats with you all wrapped up in a bite-sized video for your enjoyment. Let's get into the build. Alright, so today we're going to be building around Smile at Death. Now, this is a 5-mana enchantment that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards of power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. This is kind of an interesting case where it doesn't do anything the turn it comes into play, but if it sticks around for a couple of turns, it can have some really powerful effects. And my first thought on how to abuse this was to make sure that we had a way to give the stuff that it brings back haste so that it's more valuable the turn that it reanimates 2 things. I also thought that a +1/+1 counter strategy might be good. So my thought was to go Naya colors and use Enduring Courage as a haste enabler, and then even maybe a couple of Enduring Innocence since they're 2 or less power to come back. And the counters come onto the creature after it comes into play, so it doesn't enter with the counters, so it does come in as a 2 or less power creature. So I know I want Halana and Elena partners, because these are very good. And I know I want Anim Bakal. I'm going to play the full 4 of her, because her coming in with a +1/+1 counter means that whenever I attack, she goes up to 2 +1/+1 counters, and we immediately get 2 more tokens. I think Voice of Victory is probably pretty good too in this list. There it is. Put a couple of those in there. Let's get some Llanowar Elves. Let's get some Scrap Gorger. That way we've got some graveyard hate built into our stuff that we've got going on. Let's just go down to 2 Halana Elena. Now that we've gotten kind of a little bit of a better idea of our core, let's start looking at other stuff that has 2 or less power. That could be interesting. We want stuff that when it enters, either the counters do something for us or it attacks, the attack does something for us. So we want to find creatures that have an impact. So like Dusklegion, I'm going to put 1 Dusklegion Duelist in here just in case, because that's kind of an interesting effect. Dust Animus is kind of interesting because actually that's kind of funny. Dust Animus, when we untap, this would bring it back and we would have 5 or more untapped lands in most cases. Like sometimes we'll have 5 mana from Scrap Gorgers and stuff. It's a consideration. I don't think it's definitely what we're doing, but it's something to think about. I did originally think about like just doing a Heir Apparent list, just because that would be kind of funny, but I feel like it's a little too gimmicky. Annex Sentry is interesting. I think I'd like to consider a couple Annex Sentries. So maybe we're not going with a full-on counters build. Lorn of the Third Path is interesting as well. And I'm just adding things to the deck. This isn't going to be the final build of this, obviously, but I just want to add things I'm considering. I do think I'd like a couple of Elspeth Stormslayers in the list. Fear of Missing Out seems like an interesting idea. So it lets us discard some stuff to make sure we do actually have some things in the graveyard. And we do have artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers, lands, things like that. So it's not unreasonable that we could actually enable Delirium. Actually, Imodane's Recruiter might be better than at least 1 copy of Enduring Courage. Voldaren Thrillseeker could be an interesting way to win the game out of nowhere. Warden of the Grove is an interesting choice. Botanical Brawler could be a cool 2-drop as well, since it comes in with 2 counters on it, then gets a counter, and then gets more counters for each time the counters get put on it from Smile at Death. That could be a fun, interesting way to do things. Okay, so this is where we've landed. Now, obviously, we have too many cards, so we have to be considerate. I think a split of 2 Enduring Courage, 2 Intimidate Recruiter is interesting. We could probably go down an Amoeba Call. I don't think Dust Legion Duelist is what we need. Voldaren Thrill Seeker is probably a little too cute. Lord of the Third Path and Denley are probably not that good, because once Smile at Death brings them back, they're no longer 2 power. So their triggers won't happen. What else could we cut? Because we do need to put some removal in the list, obviously. 2 Voice of Victory is probably fine. And Botanical Brawler is not terrible, but I don't think it's what we need. I think we want a full 4 of the Fear of Missing Out. I also think Annex Entry is too cute. And so is Enduring Innocence. I don't think we need that. So that leaves us some room for removal. And then the question is, what kind of removal do we want? There's not really any removal in Naya that lets us discard, unfortunately. Yeah, so there's no discard based removal, so that's fine. What we could do is we probably want Torch the tower, because we do make a decent amount of tokens. I think Elspeth, as much as I like Elspeth, I don't think Elspeth is necessary in this list, so we need 4 additional removal spells. As much as I don't like it, Get Lost is probably the best in white that we can use. And then we need a Naya land base. So in this particular land base, Dalcoven Encampment is good. Monastery is good. And then we want mostly green fastlands. So like Copperline Gorge fastlands. And Razor Verge Thicket fastlands. And then we can take some red-white in the verges, like Elegant Parlor. We want a couple of the, like this. And then we can take a couple verges here, a couple verges here. And then we probably want Fabled Passages, a couple. A few more tap lands than I'd like, but we're not really trying to be a super hyper aggro deck. We're trying more to win with Smile at Death. And this is kind of a silly build. Like, this is probably not gonna like take the ladder by storm or anything, but this looks like a lot of fun. And then I think we also probably want at least 1 Fountain Port in the list. And that's the deck. Go like this. And we'll test this out and play a few games, and I will be back with some highlights for you. Let's go.